Hello. Hi, everyone. How's it going?
Okay.
Nice to see you, Tracy. You made it. And Patricia, thank you for warning me. You're right that I have them scheduled to go out, and because so many people were changing, adding, people who dropped and people who I added, I had waited to put the final list out and I hadn't put it out. So had you not said anything, I wouldn't have known. So thank you so much for mentioning that, because I went straight there and sent it out. So hi guys, your link reminder went out late today, and Patricia was in my morning class and said, "You didn't send it out." And I was like, "Yes, I did." But I'm so glad she reminded me, and I checked because no, it hadn't gone out. That said, if my email doesn't remind you, it's always the same link, right? So just go to the email from the week before and click on it that way. And you know, for any of my emails about iLife, the first one inviting you, the link is always going to be the same one. But I tried to make life easy by scheduling emails that just go out at 6 in the morning on Fridays to remind you of the link. But there was a lot of ins and outs, people coming and going from the class. There were two people who were leaving, and then I let people from the waiting list in. So welcome to those of you who are here for the first time. That said, Mary Lee, you didn't answer my email. I sent you the link again, because I know you want to take the class, but you are not registered in it. So I sent you a link reminding you that you need to register. This is illegal. I can't really have you in class. I know you'll register, but you need to do the process. Plus, I can't give you attendance. So the school is losing out on the fact that you are here, but we can't get reimbursed by you. So it's important, you guys, to be registered in the course, because then I can give you attendance when you come. And then the course is free for you guys, but the school gets paid for you. And we are on a huge budget crunch. So we need all the money we can get, which means I need to be able to give you attendance, which I can't if you're not.
I don't think I can re-register because
So
she
you were
can't
checking
go
in
out.
from our drive to Portland, Oregon. We're going through. Wait.
Hold on, Leslie, I'm gonna mute you because something's happening, I believe, back there. Mary Lee, can you say again what you were saying?
Yeah, I was enrolled, but then she told me that there was a waiting list and booted me off. And
Yeah,
so.
But
I'll
since
just-
I just gave you permission, they need to know from me, and I sent you that email. Now you need to re-register, and now they'll let you in.
No,
Okay.
okay, should I leave and come back next time?
No. Stay. But when I emailed you before, just do it. No, that's fine. But you know, do it. And if you know how to do it online, you can do it during break. And if not, do it later. That's fine. But I need everyone. And sometimes it's been happening that when the class is full and you guys still register it like on paper or something like that, then they don't know yet that it's full, the people behind the counter. And people who are registering online are getting in because maybe they registered the day after you did, but your paper is still being processed, you know. So there's a little bit of that's unfortunate. And so then when they take your paper and sign you in, suddenly the class is full. And then what's been happening to me is that it shows up as if you've dropped the class. So I've had to go in and individually tell people, well, you thought you were in, but you show up as if you've dropped it, not that I've dropped you. So then you need to re-register. It's kind of a complicated process. So if I ever reach out to you saying that you need to register, it's some weird bureaucratic thing that's inside that I can't handle anything about registration. I just need to send you to the right people to do it. But as long as I give permission, a full class like this one, and then Emma gives permission to it's two different permissions, me allowing you into the class, and then Emma giving permission to the admissions people to let you in, then they can overwrite it and they can fill the class with more people. So, you know, bear with us. We're doing our best. I'm trying. It's complicated. And, you know, I know. Registration. Thank you for making it here. Congratulations to all of you, because registration is not easy. And the fact that you're here gives me hopes that you truly want to learn, because you had to go through quite a few hoops to get yourself signed up for this class. So thanks for going through the motions. They keep telling us they're putting in a new system. And I'm one of the, you know, teacher leaders in the system, we keep begging for a new system, and they make it a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. But the system itself is get to the point where there's no much better. You just need to change it. And that's what they're promising. And they promised for a few years, but I guess with COVID, it all got delayed. So bear with us. Technically, the classes that are happening in spring are in person. We already did think that these fall classes were going to be in person, and they weren't. So we'll see. Right now, we're registering them as in person, but I will one of these days. I know I promised to do it before, but I didn't do it yet. I've been beyond overwhelmed, but just a lot of stuff, good stuff, fortunately happening, but a lot of stuff happening. But I want you guys to, there's a survey saying from the school sent to you guys in your pipeline address. Marcia's not here yet. She said it didn't work for her, the link that I gave you. But if you guys go to your pipeline address, you've received a survey about 4 weeks ago now. They probably sent it to you again saying, please respond or something like that. And it's basically wanting to know if you want online or in-person classes in the spring. I would actually like to know myself, because I always ask my classes, but I haven't like sent an email to all my students out. And the thing is that people in classes tend to say yes, they like to be online. One or two say, I prefer in person, but it's the people who aren't online who we're not reaching. So I'm not sure. I think it's a very skewed point of view. So I see advantages and disadvantages both ways. I miss seeing you guys in person. I also love that you guys can get the recording. So I'm torn about what to choose. And I chose in person, knowing that if the majority of my students went online, I might still switch back to online for spring. So I'm going to send out a survey because I can still switch. And I'm going to send out a survey to you guys to tell me what you truly think. And if you're people who are never going to take another class because you're done with your learning, then let me know. Yeah, I prefer this, but you know, I'm kind of done, so don't count me in. But if you're someone who is going to keep taking classes or other classes, it would be good to know your opinion. So keep an eye out for that email. I would really appreciate hearing from you. But if you want to go and fill out the school email, that's the school being informed of what in general all students are feeling about online or in person. And it's not long, but it's more in depth. Like you have, there's not just A or B, you know, black or white, online or Zoom. There's choices like, well, I'd rather this, but then this and then this. So there's a couple of choices that let you have some dithering in there. Because I think a lot of people are in that place where maybe you'd prefer your ceramics class to be in person, of course, but maybe you prefer your computer class to be online, you know, and so maybe you prefer both to be in person or both, you know, anyway. Yeah. All right, enough with that. Hi, everyone. How are you all doing? Nice to see you, all these waving hands. I just came from a class yesterday, a credit class where there was one person with the video on, and it's so sad to see lots of black faces, not black faces, black boxes. That said, if you have a slow connection or if you just have something going on in your house and you're busy, please do turn your video off. I don't need everyone to have their video on the whole time, and it does slow the speed of your connection if you end up having like wobbly connection. But if you have a good connection and you're hanging out and life is good and nothing's happening in your house, I love seeing your smiling faces, so no pressure. But it really, yeah, there you go. I like that test smile, Bill. I think I like seeing that. I like seeing that you guys have, you know, our people. You're not in there in the room with me, but I still see you. It makes all the difference to my energy, I think, to my teaching energy. I still do a good job teaching the other way, but it's more fun this way. Okay.
Great to see your energy this week.
I know, I was so exhausted.
I felt so badly for you last week.
I know I had skipped my morning class and today I had them and they're like, oh, you know, it's not that big of a class and missing a whole day is a lot, but I just couldn't in the morning teach. And I kind of scraped through your guys' class. So I'm glad, I'm totally happy and back and life is good. So many people were sick last week. I kept meetings being canceled everywhere because people were sick today too. So it just is, I'm not out and about much, but my kids are in school And however much mask they are and everything, I mean, you know, they come back sick, you get sick. It's the way of life. Fortunately, it's never been COVID. All right. Who played a little bit with, and we're not into the programs yet. Today, we're going to get into the program, into the photos program full on, but we've been spending some time dealing with the settings, dealing with getting your phone and your computer's settings set up in such a way that you don't have to choose yet one or the other, but you're aware of what's happening. You're aware if your photos are or not on the cloud and on both your devices. Remember the last thing we did? We took a picture the other day and then we waited to see it appear on the cloud and then on the computer. If you guys had it set up, do you guys remember that? Did you take a few more pictures? Did it work for you? If it's supposed to work, like if you do have the system set up that way, did it work for you? If you don't have it set up that way, it won't work. But if you did have it set up that way, did everyone find it? If so, give me a big old yes, like it worked for you. And then those of you who do not have it set up that way at all, don't say no, just give me a raised hand. So if you are like Bill, who does not have it set up that way, or Leon, who's not in the screen right now, raise your hand. And those are the only two I remember. Who else is set up in a way that photos does not go from device to device purposefully? Then raise your hand. I'm seeing Win. Who else has the non setup? I think I know it's Leon, Patricia, Bill, and Win. I need to know. Oh, Win, your hand was up and now it's down. So what is it gonna be? I can't hear you. I still can't hear you. Need to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me? No.
Yes, I can now. Mhm.
Oh, okay. So it's set up, yeah.
It's set up to be the
Yes.
whole photos thing. Okay, great. So then that's a yes. Anne, yes. Hi,
You know,
Anne.
I just upgraded to the new Zoom and I don't know where the yes and hands are.
Oh, got it.
Find
So in the little bar that you have on the bottom of your screen, there's a little emoticon, a little smiley face. And when you click on that smiley face, then you'll see
I don't have that.
you don't have a little, it's possible that your screen is really small, in which case
Oh.
go to the three dots. No,
That's
it's the Zoom toolbar, not the dot.
Zoom toolbar.
So do you see where it says, mute and
Yes,
that
invite,
on the left
mute.
side? As you go to the move to the right, you don't see a little reactions icon. It's a little smiley face that says reactions.
No, not
And
there.
if you click on the three dots that say more, do you see reactions in there?
Where are the three dots?
If you keep going to the end of that toolbar, when you have a small, sometimes it shows up under more. Huh. And if a new version changed where it is, then I don't know. I think I have the latest version. So since I am seeing it from a point of view of
More. Oh, I see. Well, wait a minute. I can get my name and then it says more. Can rename, add profile picture.
No. It should be under a little button that says reactions. You don't see? Read to
Oh,
me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Read.
I got it. Reactions.
There you go.
I have it.
There it
Okay.
is. Reactions. There it is.
Let's
I
see.
was like, yikes! Did they put out a new? Because they do that. Something like they put a new version out, and I'm like, I need to figure out the new version. But no.
Okay.
Okay, good. So then that's good to know that it's not a problem. Okay. Usually I find out from students who suddenly say something's different, like the handouts for all our classes suddenly switched from, non-credit student to just student. I've recorded a new video. So if you go to the handouts, there's a new video about how to access the class recordings. But of course, to see it, you need to access the class recordings. Meaning you have to access the handouts. So it's a bit of a catch-22. So I'm gonna send you an email with that. Didn't I send it to you? I thought I had sent you the email with a little recording of how to get to the recordings. No, because I made it like 3 days ago and then I was going to email it to you and it looks like I did not send it to you.
Yes, you did. You did.
Well, Patricia, you're in some other of my classes, so maybe I sent it to the other class and not to iLife.
Oh,
Because
okay.
if you're the only one saying yes, you did, since you are in my other classes, I have a feeling I didn't send it to this one. No one else. It doesn't sound familiar. A video that says how to get to the recordings. No. Okay, so then Patricia, I sent it to your class, but you're in Photoshop and you're in the Mac class. So I sent it to one of those and not to this one. So I'm sorry. I'll send it to you. But basically, I sent you the recording for the first iLife class, but I didn't send you the recording for the second iLife class because after the first one, you're supposed to get it yourself. But there was a change in how to get to it. And so I made a little recording so that you guys can follow through, and it's not long, and it's just how to get to the handouts and to the class recording. So I'll send that one out. But I'm also happy to stay at the end of class today. Anyone who still doesn't know how to get to the recordings, which I'm sure is many of you guys. So don't feel bad asking, just stay or I'll try to do it a little before the end of class. So that everyone has access to that information. Because if you want to take any advantage out of the fact that we're on Zoom versus in person, the main thing is that you have the class recordings. The second main thing, especially for this class, for other things like Excel, whatever, it doesn't matter. Excel is the same in any computer, but in this class, you get to work with your own computer, with your own photos, same with the Mac classes and your own settings, right? And so that's kind of cool. So continue. Now give me a quick reminder of who's on an iPad only. If you have computer and iPad, that's fine. I don't need to know that. But if you're on an iPad only, because in my Mac classes, I have 3 people on iPads only. I know it's Doran and anyone else here other than Doran who's on an iPad only. Oh, Lily.
Lily. Yeah.
Okay, it's always 2, but it's 2 different ones. Okay, Lily, you always remind me at the beginning, or if I forget to ask, whenever I start doing things and it's different for you, remind me, oh, I'm on an iPad. And I'm like, oh, that's true. Okay, because Doran's in both, but Lily, you're in the other class, it's someone else. Okay, if you're in an iPad as well as an iPhone and a computer, then consider when I talk about the iPhone and the iPad as one thing, computer, laptop, desktop as another thing. But if you're only on an iPad, you won't be able to do some of the things that we do here. That said, in the Mac class itself, there's a lot of things you can't do on an iPad because I teach you how to handle a computer. Versus in this one, I'm really teaching you how to do Apple Photos. And Apple Photos operates very similarly across devices. So what you find in one, you usually find in another. Not everything, but a lot of it you find across the board. That's their whole goal. The whole goal is to make photo taking and finding and arranging easy. The thing is that what shows up as easy for someone who is really comfy with phones and mobile phones and computers, which is the people who design these things, isn't necessarily that easy for people for whom being on a device isn't second nature like it is for kids right now. So bring all your devices around so that when we start going back and forth from one or for the other, you have your, I have to switch to my other phone here for this. Hold on, my cables are getting all messed up right now. I have no idea how many cables I have in front of me for chargers for all the different devices I have to demo and headsets and handsets. Here we go. Finally, I can lift it up. So here's my phone. And I have requested an iPad from school. I don't think I'll get it, but there is sometimes extra money. We had, the reason I got these phones that I'm using now for class, I'm finally having a phone that's not my phone, which is timely, except for the first time ever I had just updated my personal phone, is because of some COVID money, because I taught some classes for people. I taught some workforce classes there. They gave some money for people to be retrained to work from home. And so I taught them how to run a business off of their phones. And so there was money to buy a phone for me to teach, but I have not managed to get money for an iPad. So if anyone is ever getting rid of an older iPad, but that still works enough that you're tired of it being old and want to trudge through, but that I could use to teach, you're happy to be the receptive of an older iPad, not a totally old one, because then it won't work for the things I need to teach, but a slightly older one, which some people just kind of have lying around. It'll go to the school, not to me, it'll be for a good cause. Anyway, that said, I just find that before I could teach without devices, but more and more people come with just devices and they want and they need them. So I put in the request, the official request. Let's see if it happens. Okay, let's open our computer's Apple Photos. I'm going to share my screen, and here's the thing that I want you guys to tell me if you have never used Apple Photos. Some people were saying the other day, well, I have Google Photos and whatever, that's fine, but I'm not teaching Google Photos. It's not that different. But I'm teaching Apple Photo. It is different. And certainly it doesn't work with the whole system the same way. But the one I'm teaching is Apple Photos. So it's the icon that on your dock appears, and let me put my little spotlight on. It's the icon down here that looks like a colored flower, a flower with rainbows of different colors on it. If you have never opened it before, let me clear your feedback. If you have never opened it before, go ahead and raise your hands. There's usually somebody who's never opened the computer one before, but if you don't know, we'll find out, because when you open it, it'll say, get started or something like that if you have never used it before. So I'm going to click on this icon and open it. Now, if you don't have this icon and you can't find it and you don't know how to find it, then head over way to the very far top and right where there's this this thing appeared. And so you might think that this is what I opened, but no, what I actually opened was the search, which is way top right here. I'm moving my mouse. That little, and I have the light in the way, so you see me doing like this, but that little ring light that's shining onto my face is standing right in the way of it. I have to do like this, but there's my spotlight, which is the search. It's the magnifying glass on the top right, and then you can write the word photos, and this icon will appear. And don't click on the icon though, click on the word photos top hit, and that's another way to open the program. And now I'm going to switch my share to just this program, this window, so that it's easier to share it. And we opened it a little bit the first day of class, and then we moved on to explaining the whole setup and system. And now that we have a better idea what's happening with the whole system, we can come back and start figuring out what and where and how, what to do with the photos. So those of you who have your computer and your iCloud connected, it's because your settings in the system preferences are turned on. And those of you who have your phone and your iCloud connected are because in your phone you have the photos turned on, and thus all three are speaking. If you're not doing that, then one or the other is speaking to the cloud, but not to the other device, which was the question Bill had before. And yeah, so like you can connect only one and not the other, and so on and so forth. Or maybe Wynn asked that. I'm not sure. Someone asked that at the end of the last class. All right, so are we clear on that? And are there any questions about that portion of it before we launch into something different? Great time to ask questions.
I'm sorry, I think I kind of got lost. You want us to click on our photos, right?
Yeah, just on your
Okay.
photos.
So yours will be different from what I have though, right?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Because this is your own, great question, your own photos. I do have photos available for you to download in the handouts if you want. And at some point, in fact, it might be easier. I've had the class online be
our-
both ways, but then you have to create a new library or mix your photos with mine, and that also turns into a bit of a problem. So I'm gonna go with your own photos, and only for people who have no photos, because maybe it's they just bought these devices or don't take many photos, then maybe you can download my photos and use those for class. But right now, ideally, we'll work with your photos. And I know, Yolanda, you have bazillions of them. And so it's every time you take this class, we pick a little bit at them and try to get them a little bit more worked on and organized. So I recommend you stay with your photos. Someone else was trying to speak.
Yes, Diana, you told me
Yes.
when I put photos in iCloud, if I turn on in my phone, will we go to my iPad? In my iPad, I have to turn on iCloud too to receive?
If you turn off the photos from your photos stay in your phone and don't go anywhere else. So when you take a picture, it stays in your phone. And
What
if
I-
you lose your phone, drop it
Yeah.
or crack it, that photo is gone forever.
No, what I want is I have to turn on in my iPhone so I can share my picture with all the devices. But the picture that I take in my iPad, I want to keep there. I don't want to go to my iPhone.
Then it's hard because then you have to keep it disconnected and it's fine, but then you won't get the photos from the phone. Right? If you turn it on, it goes both ways. If you turn it off, the iPad is isolated, which is fine, but then your photos won't be on your iPad. So if you want the
Will
photos
not
on
be
your
in
iPad,
iPad.
no.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
no,
Okay.
your photos that you take on your iPad will be on your iPad.
Pero de my phone,
Photos that
no.
take your phone, but they won't interchange. If you turn them on, they all interchange.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, thank
it's not a one-way receive but not send. It's always
Have to be both,
it's receive
reciprocal.
and send. Yeah, because
Okay.
what's really happening is that all the photos go store themselves in the cloud and then they distribute themselves
Distributes.
to both places. If you
Okay.
disconnect, they stay on their devices. That's fine. I'm
Donna?
sorry. I got a little, that's fine. But then you can hand put some photos in there, syncing and dragging and doing file management. You can do that.
Okay.
But not on your own, right?
Okay, thank you.
So anyway, guys, remember to go sign into the chat for those of you who haven't yet done that. And if you have anything in particular to tell me about, a personal issue, remember you can write just to me, but to everyone when it's a class question. That way, when I answer it, people know what I'm answering. I try usually to repeat the question, but now and then it's good for people. By the way, sometimes people answer someone's question just because it's on the chat, right? Because they know the answer and then I can keep going. So putting your question up there, it can actually be helpful because someone else knows what to say.
Diana, I have a question.
Mhm.
I've been using the photos, but instead of putting photos, because I have a Android, and it's easy for me to use the Google.
You said you're using Google Photos, yeah.
Yeah, and but I put like 3 or 8 videos, and my iCloud is already like 3/4 full.
Yeah. The videos take up ridiculous amount of space. Are you paying extra for your iCloud or your iCloud or your Google Photos? What?
My iCloud that I've been with this in this class, but can I process these videos in iMovie in the iMac?
Yes.
iMac?
Yes. Yeah, that's towards the end of this class, and more people this time showed interest in video than other times. So I'll make a bit more time. It always depends on who's here. Some people are like, yeah, I don't care about video, but other people do. So depending on that, I teach a bit more or less videos, but I think at the beginning, 2 or 3 of you guys said that for a show of hands, who is interested in knowing how to deal with your videos? Process them a little bit, put 2 or 3 together to make a new video. So show of hands, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I counted one of you guys twice, but that's a, you know, and Leslie can't let go because she's driving, but I'll let her, I'll maybe not count her. She's driving to Oregon. Thank you for listening in and enjoy. I hope you're enjoying their drive. Dorothy has a point there, which is a different point than the one that's being asked, but I do want to actually speak to that. And I'm saying speak to that. She wrote it in the chat. See what I mean by putting it in the chat? She talked about the live photos, which is different. Live photos are little mini videos. They're like 3-second videos or 1-second video. I can't remember right now. But they're not considered videos in the sense that if you don't want to see them as a video, they revert to being a photo versus a video, a real video that you took as a video is only a video and nothing else but a video. So a photo that you turn on with this live photos setting in your phone, which can be awesome or horrible depending on if you want it or don't want it, and if you know it's there or not, makes your photos into this little mini video. So you took a picture of me standing there, but I was actually doing this, and next thing you know, my photo does this and that and that and that the whole time, and it's this little mini video loop. So if you want that, that's good. But if you don't want that, that video takes much more space in your phone because it's really a little mini video than a photo. So you should turn that off. When I get to share my phone, remind me to tell you how to turn it off because it's not that simple. You can turn it off temporarily. Every time it turns on, it goes back to being on. So you have to go to the settings to turn off your live video if you never want it. Okay. So we'll just move in. Remind me someone about the live video, live photo feature when I get to share my phone, because that is not about the Apple program that I have sharing right now. It's about when you take the picture, and that's what makes the difference whether it's a live photo or not. Okay, so over here, what I'm showing, yes.
My question was, if you did take them on the phone as a live video, then I go into my Photos app, and when I'm in my Photos app, it shows it and it says turn off live video on that photo, and then it seems to turn it to a still photo. Does that take away the video part of it?
Yeah, but it's reversible. You can turn it back into a live
but
video.
do I save space on my computer doing that?
That's a good point. Because it's reversible, you're right, probably not. I would say no, because it's reversible. If it were non-reversible, then I'd say yes, right? But since it's reversible, then no. But it's just my informed opinion. Let me write that question down because it's not an actual knowledge-based answer. It's an informed opinion. So let me answer that. If I turn off live photo, this is not in the capturing, which is what I was talking about. She's actually talking when we've already captured a live photo,
right,
and then you turn that feature off in your computer. So this is after the fact that you already did that to save space. If you turn it off, do you save space? And I do not know that.
Thanks for checking.
I'm going to write that question down and look it up because I don't know. And some of you guys who know a lot of what I'm about to talk right now, which is the basics, I welcome you. Not the people who need to hear me. Those, please listen to me. Don't get distracted. But a few of you guys who know the basics, please Google this question in case someone comes up with the answer. All right. So, but again, I don't want you distracted. It's just that some people have a bit more handle on the beginnings of this app, and if so, I'm giving them some work to do to keep their brains occupied and maybe help us all learn something. All right, so my screen once again is showing you the photos versions of Catalina, which has changed from the photos version of Big Sur. No, not has changed. Big Sur has changed, and Catalina has changed from Mojave. So I know that I had some Mojave people here, and I have some Catalina people here, and I have some Big Sur people here. So when the change is different enough that if I show it, you Big Sur people don't see that or see something very different, please speak up. And I would love if one of you Big Sur people share your screen so that I can show you the differences, because I know of a few of them, but not all of them, because since I don't have Big Sur, all I've done is read up about it and see it in your screens. And it's near enough that I can figure it out, but I don't always remember to say, oh, this is different in Big Sur. But you guys in Big Sur can tell me, that's not how it looks here. Warn me about it. And then we'll show with one of your screens what it looks like. So my request is don't be shy about sharing your screen, because it's to help everyone learn. And the more messy your files are, the more there is more juice for me to bite into that and teach. Okay, so don't say, oh, I have such a mess here, I won't be the one to share. You're the one who's going to get actually the advantage of me helping you personally with your photos if you're the one who shares. So, you know, don't let only the fast advanced people be the ones who share. It's you who have questions and it's not working who might get more out of sharing. All right, that was my booster, hoping that you guys will choose to share. Even those of you who are not, I find that sometimes the people who need the most help are the most reluctant to share, because they go, it's the only problem with this using your own photos thing is that people don't want to show that they have a messy desktop or show that they have a messy, well, that's what you're here. That's why you're taking the class. So please try to not hesitate. All right. So here I have a smallish album, because this is not my real photos album, but it's got enough photos to do some work with it. And if you notice that when I click here on the photos, which remind me again, the Big Sur says library up here instead of photos. Okay, it says library. Now in here you see the word library, but in Big Sur it's opposite. It says photos up there and library is down here. And it makes sense that they switched that because of how they're trying to have people understand how things work. They slowly change things that don't make sense from how it used to be to how it really is, but they can't make many changes or people get lost. So this here, it used to say all photos. Then there was another thing that said photos, and that one was really confusing. When I tried to explain that one, I understood the difference, but not everyone did. Then now it turned to just photos. Now it actually turns to library and this to photos. And that one I like actually better, because that really gets you to understand that every single thing is there. Every single photo you have, every single photo that you have in your entire history of photos is here under library. And if you scroll to the very bottom, so maybe you're way up here, and if you scroll all the way to the very bottom, you'll see a number there that tells you how many photos and videos you have. And I have about 4,000 photos, 63 videos. The more typically, if this were my, one of your real libraries and you've had for a few years, you'll probably have, that many more photos. Or if it's pretty new to you that you're doing this, you might have many less. Some features work better with many photos. The more photos, the better, because then there's more photos for the Apple artificial intelligence to sink its teeth into, and to be able to process and recognize faces and things like that. The more photos, the better. So when the library is a bit too small, it doesn't have enough to give it. And a lot of the photos that I have here, this is some photos that my son set up. Long story, but these are not necessarily photos. So I don't have as many photos in this library of recognizable people as I would in my regular one. So I've tried teaching with my regular one once, and it felt very invasive to have you all seeing every single thing about my personal life. Some of you guys are awesome and I don't mind, and other times I feel like it's a little bit creepy. So I'm using this one here that still has personal photos, and I have another library where I have personal photos, but that are pared down to ones that I'm happy to share. So as of next week, I'm setting up my other school phone with that library, and then I'll be using that. So whatever you have in here is every single photo that's ever come across. And if you scroll up and down, oh, by the way, and then up here on the right side, you have to be clicked on all photos. So if your window is small, instead of having all the options, you have a little menu that you can choose days or months or years. And I believe you guys told me in Big Sur that this was a little bit different. It doesn't say all photos there. What does it say now? Big Sur people, is this identical or has it changed?
Deanna,
Says all photos. Mine says all photos.
All right. And when
If
you
you-
click,
Deanna, if you start at the libraries, then the top will show all photos.
okay. And then when you click on it, the choices are still years, month, and days, right?
Correct? And then, yes, correct.
Okay. And in my case, in the Catalina, if I expand my window, then I see years, month, and days as choices like that. And if I make a smaller window, then I see just all photos and I have to choose on the menu. Okay. But it's the same set of choices. Does that make sense, you guys? It's the same set of choices. It's not a different situation. So if you have photos in there and all photos in there, because if you've gone to years and you hit photos, you can be seeing something else. It's just if you've changed it by default, all photos and photos. Then you're seeing things by order of arrival, in order of how it's in order of how it's the
Taken?
last ones taken are at the bottom, the first ones taken are at the top. So as I scroll up and down, I'll see here April 22 to 25, 2018, and I keep scrolling, and now it's switched to there's a lot of 2018 photos in this one, and now I'm in 2017, December 8th, 2017, and so on and so forth. So it takes quite a while to get up and down, depending on how many photos you have. It might take eons to go up and down. So that's why it's easier to just jump to months, right? And then you only have 12 months a year, so it's easier to go up and down on the years when you're in months. Does that make sense? So when you know when you're looking for something, because you remember it was a long time ago, you can go all the way to years. And then you go, I seem to have 2004, 2008, 2009, 2011, 2013, 2015, 2017. So this is kind of spotty because I have a few photos here and there from older times that I've brought in order to have, a variety of years in here. Try that out. See how many years back your library goes. And when you're a little bit more attuned as to, oh yeah, this happened in, around 2009-ish, you click on 2009 and you open it up. And then you have the months of 2009. Now I seem to have only that one picture for 2009. So I kind of jumped through and forward. But when you go to 2000, let me go to 2018, which I know I have a lot of photos of. If I go to 2018, then I have November 2018, October 2018, September 2018, April, and so on and so forth. So I was started here in 2018 in years. Once I want to get into 2018, I double click and that takes me, see how that shifted to months without me changing it? It went to months and now I can see months, okay? And that's just kind of the up and down of, and then if I say, well, I really want to see these drawings of November, because I don't, between the 2 and 14, I don't know, I think it's probably there. I double click in there and I've gone into days. And then under days, I can go up and down and look at all the days of 2018 or November 2018. I click on that and there it was, November 8th. Okay. So that's how you can hone in on photos that you're not really sure where they are. Some things you know. A wedding you went to, you remember the date, but other times you go, yeah, it was a wedding so many years ago. Was it really November? Was it really October? I don't know. Or was it 2018? Was it 2017? So then this kind of helps you search. If you have nothing else set up, no other ways to find things, because some of you guys are already good. You've put in things like keywords and groups and albums. You've already been doing that. But if this is your first time organizing, then this is the best you can do to find things. Okay. Now, worst case scenario, you go to the granularity. If you're selecting this date, November 8th, 2018, and you go, okay, I want to see all the photos from that time. As long as this one's selected, if I go back to all photos, then it puts me right there in November 2018. It doesn't scroll me all the way down to the bottom. So I'd say start with, whoops, the photos just canceled out on me. It just crashed. Let me open up my photos again. How weird. And let me share my photos again. That just was strange. I just crashed. Okay. So you start with years. You find whatever it is that you're looking for. So say 2011, you go in and you go, oh, maybe it was this day, which is, I always laugh at this photo. This is my youngest son who to this day can sleep in any position available for a human body to take. And he has not changed. I've taken photos as he grew up all his life. I will find him sleeping in a bizarre situation. And he is now 14 years old and I still take these kind of photos. So there's some capacity.
He looks like a yoga master.
Yeah, crazy. Anyway, so he's completely asleep. This is not a position in the middle of play. He is just snoring. Okay, so if I double click that, I've approached that area, then I double click even that, and I'm actually in the photo. That is the one photo. So if I actually wanted to get to that photo, I can keep double clicking and I'm in that photo. Okay, so now those things have disappeared and I am in only this one photo. And if I want to go back, see how I don't have the choices anymore? I have to use this little arrow to backtrack out, and then I have my choices again. So when you finally hit that moment, when you're in the photo, those choices disappear. You have other choices now. At this point, the choices are, well, do you want to do anything in particular with this photo? Do you want to edit it? Do you want to see details of the moment, time, and place it was taken? Do you want to mark it as a favorite? What do you want to do with this photo, right? So you can do many things to this photo at this level, but it's to the individual photo. And these little icons that are up here are the ones that we're going to begin to focus on. The one that I most want everyone to, that's the most ignored one that people only learn about of it because they're here in this class. And that's this guy here, the first one that says info. So when you click on that info, are you seeing a little window that popped up? Because since it's a pop-up window, sometimes it doesn't show. Did this window pop up for me, for you guys? Are you seeing the info window?
Yes.
It did? Okay. When it's a pop-up window, sometimes it doesn't show itself. Okay. So here I have a window. See Yolanda. Let me just, while you guys turn this on and off. Okay. And you can turn it on and off by just clicking on the eye and clicking off the eye. Or you can turn on the eye, click on the window, and turn it off that way. So turn it on or off, click, click. Or turn it on and then select it. And then just from this area here where it says the word info, not from anywhere else, you can move it around so that it's not bugging you. Okay. But not from somewhere else. But from this part, the title bar area, you can move it around a little bit. Let me read while you guys play with that. Yolanda, every time your laptop updates the order of my photos got disordered. Wrong dates, years go to wrong photo. My photos go to another year. Huh. Anyway, to rectify it was ordered my computer, not on myself. Wow, I have not experienced that. If that's happening, something is probably, you need to talk to an Apple tech, Yolanda, because I don't know. I mean, are these photos that you have changed the date to? Or are they photos that, because you know how you can change the date for some photos, and I'm wondering if you just lost that metadata when the laptop got updated, which you shouldn't, because sometimes photos are dated incorrectly, and I've shown people how to correct that. But I'm wondering, like, say you scanned in 2003 a bunch of photos, but they really were a photo taken in 1979. So you can fix that by giving it the date of 1979. But that's metadata that stays with your program. And I'm wondering if for those photos, when you did an update or an upgrade, maybe you lost some of that metadata. That's all I can think of. I know that during upgrades, guys, only during upgrades, sometimes the photos libraries do get messed up. Upgrades meaning like from Big Sur to Catalina, Catalina to, Mojave to Catalina, Catalina to Big Sur, that kind of thing. So I highly recommend before you upgrade your computers to do a full-on backup, a time machine backup. I'm talking about that in the Mac classes. Find some way to have all your photos saved somewhere other than on your computer before you undertake a big old update. Because of all things, if anything can go wrong, it tends to go wrong in the photos library. That seems to be a bit of a weak point in updates, and things, suddenly people get duplicates or weird stuff. And what you're saying right now seems like one of those things, Yolanda.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
just not sure. I'm just guessing that it might be on photos that you might have changed. Otherwise, I don't see why it would have gone, like a photo just suddenly have the wrong date.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a good point because I was able to tell people of this information, but I don't know the answer.
Now you also mentioned duplicates, and I got lots of duplicates that I did not do. I don't know
Yeah.
the same photos that, like, they're like a whole row.
Mhm. Yeah, I think in the past, and you've had your library for eons. I've seen Yolanda's library. She's got photos from forever. In the past, when this used to be iPhotos, the iPhoto library, those of you guys who've been around enough to remember iPhoto, whenever you did updates, sometimes the whole thing got duplicated. And then if you did another one, then you got 4 duplicates. Then if something else happened, you got more. And those things were really hard to get rid of, other than one by one. And when you've got, 20,000 photos, it's really hard to do that. There is a system now to merge photos that are similar. I hesitate I'm going to try it out on a fake library to see how it does, because sometimes photos have the same number, but they're not the same image. And I want to just kind of test it out before I try that.
So if they had exactly the same number, I can individually can delete, but it is still safe to do so, because the original, you will still have the original in the photo.
Yeah. Yes and no, because sometimes it's the same one, but you've altered the same number. You might have edited one photo and not the other. You might have made this brighter or darker and the other one isn't, so it's the same name, but so you need to be a little bit careful. But in general, yeah.
Okay,
So anyway, thanks for that and that question. And then here in this little info box is pretty crucial, because it's the only place where you see the metadata, and which for a lot of people, you don't care about the metadata, and this is information that's way beyond what you're interested in. But if you're serious about understanding what's happening in the bottom of your photos, this is one thing that you can see on the computer that you can't see on the phone. And I do not know, I believe you cannot see it on an iPad either, because it's the same as the phone, but the iPad does have a few more capabilities than the phone does. So anyone who has an iPad, if you have any way of seeing the metadata, let me know. Or I guess it's some of those things that we can research. As you can tell, I do know the iPad has more capabilities, but since I don't have my own iPad, I can't completely answer that. I don't know. I know that on the phone you can't see it. Now, I'll answer your question in a minute, Yolanda, when I explain what HDR is. So hold on to that question because not everyone knows yet. So here we go. when you do this on a photo, so whatever photo you chose to do, it says add a title, which we don't have any title on this photo yet because it says add a title. If it says add a, that means we don't have that on it. So all we have here are whatever comes with the photo, which is the file name. So for many of you guys, this thing is just a series of numbers. It's usually like image underscore, you know, a series of numbers .jpeg, because that's what the camera labeled your photo. Let me actually mute myself.
Diana, you mute yourself.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had to mute you because there was an issue, call from school with my son and stuff like that. So it's his fine. It's important, but it's not urgent or anything like that. But I needed to listen to them. Okay, so so most of you guys here have a number. The only reason you'd have a name is if the file itself got processed outside of your phone as a file in your computer and then got uploaded. So a lot of people who used to do that with their photos, people who have photos from a long time ago where we used to download the photos, put names on them, make little folders. And so some of you guys are here since that time on a computer, right? And you have a lot of file names on issues and files and stuff like that. And anyone who's a bit newer to computers, your photos are, you know, ever since phones came out, your phone just gives it a number, it goes in, that's the file name. Your camera gives it a number, it goes in, that's the file name. Is if you handle the files on your own, or if you work on them in Photoshop, or if you had someone send you a file with a name, those are the kind of files that would have something here other than a number, like this one. It has been handled outside of this whole system. Then you have the date of when it was taken. And then you have the time. And then it tells you what device took this photo. So this is an Apple iPhone 5. So thus it has no lens information, but if you took it on a camera, it will give you the information of the lens, what kind of camera. This is how many pixels it has, which is something that only matters when you're trying to print the photo. So if you're trying to print this photo, how many pixels it has matters, because if it has very few pixels, you can still share it online, it'll look good. But if someone tries to print it, it needs to have enough pixels to be printable. The older the photo, the harder it is for a photo to have enough pixels to do more than maybe a 4x6, a 5x7. You start to try to get big prints out of very old photos, it becomes harder. Then you need a program like Photoshop or something else to handle it. But this is fine. This is enough pixels for, you know, 5x7, maybe at this point I'd have to check, but maybe even an 8x10. And this is how big the file is. So most of this is unchangeable usually, and that this is just what came with the camera, like what the camera did. But how many ISO, millimeters, this is all camera information. Some photos don't have camera information, depending if the camera had the features and the camera turned off to not record that kind of stuff, which you can do. And others have even more information than this one does. And then the rest is stuff that we ourselves get to put in there if we want to begin to organize photos based on favorites or location or person or, you know, place taken or event, right? So the rest is personal information that Apple doesn't know, the iPhones doesn't know. It's only stuff that you would know. Like I would describe this as Joaquin sleeping in one of his weird positions. How would the phone know? The phone just knows that there's some green pixels, some red pixels, some orange pixels. It does not know what the phone is made out of. It does, if it's a face, recognize it's a face. If it's an animal, maybe recognize it's an animal. If it's a plant, recognize it's a plant. But something like this, I'm sure, is undescribable, and no artificial intelligence would ever be able to understand what this photo is showing, right? So if I try to search a generic search for my son, he would not appear because you can't even see his face, right? Versus a straight on photo of him. If I have told my phone and my program that this face is my son Joaquin, it can match faces like that and find more photos of my son Joaquin or photos of my son Santi. But if it doesn't have a similar-ish position face to match, it will never be able to tell what this is. It can't even tell it's a child. So it's up to me. I can add a description. So now whatever photo you're using as your sample photo, go ahead and add a little description of it. Go ahead and click in here like I just did. And this is only going to this one photo. Click in here and write upside down sleeping Joaquin or something like that. That would work. Now, why would we put information in here? Because later, I handled this photo 3 years ago in 2013. I put this information in there. Or I handle it today in 2021. I put this information in there. In the future, when I look back, it's a very hard photo to find unless I add something to it. It's one photo in bazillions of photos. And how do I find it? By something that I did here for the most part. Or there's a couple of things that you can also do here and that you can do on your iPhone and on your iPad. But the ones that are the most powerful for searching and organizing is the metadata. So I just wrote upside down sleeping Joaquin. In the very far future, you know, I have no idea when this photo was taken. It's now 2030. And I want to go back to see when my little kid was cute and tiny and slept in a weird way. I can do a search for words like sleep or Joaquin or upside down or things like that. Things that might remind me. So what you want to write here are things that are helpful to really describe the photo. You want to be very, it's called semantic, really, really specific to the photo. So he's upside down, he is sleeping. I have a word that I use for all these photos, which is weird and weird sleeping position, I call it, right? And so I know in the future that if I write weird sleep, all the photos I've labeled that will pop up amongst my 2,500,000 photos. I can just suddenly get 20 photos because I wrote this in their description. Does that make sense? So it's helpful to you, to the photos that you care about the most, to work a little bit on the metadata. Now, that's just whatever you want to write. The description is very generic. If you want to write it, fine. If you don't want to write it, then that's fine too. There's nothing specific about that. We're going to talk a little bit later about keywords, faces, and locations. We'll work on that later. But one thing that you might discover is that maybe yours already has a location. Like, how many of you guys, when you go here to location, it says something? Yeah. So down here where it says assign a location, this photo has no location assigned to it already. But if your camera, the one that you showed it with, had set up the automatic setting is to record the metadata of the location, then it might say the address of your house, the address of the park you were in, the address of the city you were visiting, whatever it is that that photo location was taken. How many of you guys have a location there? Give me a little thumbs up or yes. Okay, so I'm saying Michael, Tracy, a couple of thumbs, Leon, Mary Lee, and okay, so quite a few of you guys are seeing location. And that's because your phone or your camera registered that data. The camera, the big old DSLR cameras, they also have GPS, whatever, they can also register that information if they're newish enough. Little point and shoots can register location as long as those settings are turned on. And phones definitely can do that. Now, If you don't like that, you can turn it off. In your camera in your phone, you can tell the camera, do not record location. Okay. Now, if this is for personal photos, I don't mind recording my location. I used to be all freaked out when this first started. I was like, oh my God, I don't want people to know my locations. It's a toss up because in the end, as I said, if you go into a store and use your credit card to buy some raspberries, anyone in the world now knows exactly where you are and knows everything about you. It's so hard to not be traced that I don't know anymore how much of a difference it does to have a photo not have location-based information. I don't know. It's a toss-up. You guys decide that kind of thing on your own security. I'm noticing that it's a futile gesture at this point. You end up having no idea where a photo was taken, which in the future you might really like to find photos. Search when I lived in such and such house, or when I was in such and such place. I visited Yosemite. Find me all the photos of Yosemite. Well, you'll be able to do that if your phone got recorded, registered Yosemite as a location it was taken in. So you have to weigh how much this feels invasive and how much this feels helpful to your life, because I used to think it was really invasive. I am now aware that I can be traced in so many different ways that unless I go into a cash-based society where I disconnect from the world, which some people choose to do, I don't know. And I kind of like the idea of saying Yosemite and having all my trips to Yosemite appear where I can find the photos of yada yada. You know, so I'm changing my mind about this one. I'm not sure I'm willing to be talked differently in or out of it because I'm still up to date. Someone had a question. Was it Annette? You had a question, or someone had raised their hand about this? No, I saw a raised hand. No, you were just raising hands that you have location. Okay. So if you don't have a location, you can assign a location. So I'm going to click in here and let's go ahead and assign a location. And I am having my phone, my computer right now is not participating. There we go. So I'm going to click assign a location. See how it wasn't participating? I don't know why I'm having some weird stuff. It crashed twice, but I just closed the window and opened it up again. And then when I click in there, it goes dark. And now let's say I'm going to invent a location, say that this photo was taken in, I don't know, New York. So I'm going to start writing new. And as soon as I write new, lots of all new possible places show up, including New York, right? So I can click on that, or I can keep writing New York, and then suddenly there's less options. It's all New York things. See how it suggests places to me? And at this point, yeah, I'll just say it was in New York, New York. So I'll click on that, and suddenly a map appears of a generic, probably where the city hall is for New York. And that's where that photo appears. Okay. Now, if I was wanted to be much more specific, I could put in a specific place, Rockefeller Center. And as soon as you start writing it, if it's famous enough or important enough, it shows up. And I'll click on Rockefeller Center, and then that specific place shows up. Now, this can be as easy as a local place. I can maybe write Santa Barbara City College. So I can write Santa Barbara City College, and there it is, 721 Cliff Drive, and it points in the map to Santa Barbara City College. You can also write an address. You can write 123 State Street, and it stops working because there, whoops, go back here. I was trying to delete that, and I can say 123 State Street, Santa Barbara, California, and look at that, and then it points out to this. So you can put your actual specific address there, or you can put the name of Janine's restaurant, or just Yosemite, and it figures out the national park. Okay, so you can be, for the most part, if it's completely anonymous, then write the address in. But if it's a location, an area, or a place, like Rockefeller Center or something like that, then that works. Okay, so it was everyone able to put something in there. Even if you already had an assigned location, you can select it. And when you click and select like that, you can write a different one, right? So you can retype the same one, just try it, or change the location and then change it back to the real one. So does everyone have a location in there?
Well, sometimes it won't let me and it keeps making this weird noise. Do I have to do something before I do click assign location?
Not really, as long as you click in there and it lights up or it goes dark, it should be fine. Do you want to share? Is it happening to you now? Can you share so I can kind of figure out or not? Share
Yeah,
your screen. Yeah, so if you're going to share, I'm going to stop my share. Is that a yes to sharing?
yes.
All right, so go ahead and share your screen. And
So see that?
hold on. Not yet,
It'll probably do it now that you're coming on.
but I'm not seeing your. Are you sharing your screen? Is that
Yes, I am. I don't know why it's not doing it. Now I'm in some totally different place. Desktop, whiteboard, iPhone, photo. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's where you should be. That's when you do that share screen. Now you have to choose which one of those things you want to share. And then on the bottom right, you'll see a little blue button with white letters that says share, and that'll finally share your screen. It's 2 steps.
I don't remember that the last time we shared.
Yeah, it's 2 steps always. You choose what you want to share. Desktop is usually good enough for us to see, and then press the little share button that has white letters, and that'll share your screen.
I did. Now somehow I'm in security and privacy and I have no idea.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Relax. The first step you do that, the first time you do it in a new version of Zoom, it'll ask you to give permissions. And then after that, it'll be fine. So in that security thing, you need to unlock it, bottom left, click on the lock and type in your password. You're the only one seeing all of this. Just tell me where you are and I'll tell you what to do. So remember, the first time you share, you guys, you have to do a couple of steps like this. And then after that, it's seamless. All right, so once you unlock it, now in the middle of that window, you should see the word Zoom, and there's a check mark next to it that needs to be checked. So go
I
ahead.
did.
And check.
Now it's asking me to leave the meeting.
Yep. No, not leave the meeting. It gives you another option, which is later or something like that, right?
No, cancel. Leave meeting or cancel.
Well, then really cancel? Did you? Okay, we'll say cancel, but that's weird. You just click the check mark next to Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, try to share to see if it worked. Go ahead and go back to the share screen and then press the button, because usually what it says is now or later. Yeah, there you go. Now it's working. Okay.
Good Lord.
No, but this is the one time only. It's security based. You care about this. You send me emails about this. They don't want anyone to share your screen. So you need to have the password. So now you can close that security window if you want. And now I can see what's happening. So, okay. So show me again what's happening with your info box. Turn on your info box. Yep, that one. Okay. Put your assign a location in there.
Oh, I told you it would work as soon as I got.
Well, you did say it sometimes happens. So next time it happens, leave it in that mode and then go, excuse me, can I share right now what's happening?
I didn't touch it. And every time I clicked, it went boom. It kind of made this weird noise and it bounced my mouse back.
Oh, I don't know. It's the magic of, it's the magic touch. What can I say? It's the magic eyes. It's me going zzz, voodoo onto your screen and making it work. That's what I'm saying. Sharing is really good, guys. Now, I do want to do something here before you unshare, which is, see, he has a live photo here. I just want to point it out because that live photo is what we were talking about that Dorothy asked before. See, in case some of you guys didn't know what she was talking about, on the left, no, don't move out of there. Go back to the info. You can leave the info on. And now put your mouse over that info thing. And then see to the left, move your mouse to the left about 2 inches. Keep moving it. No, don't turn that off. Just keep moving to the left. left, right there. You see the thing that says live?
Yeah.
Okay, actually, maybe you should move that info window so that we can see your live photo again. So move it over a bit. Thank you. And then put your mouse over that live and click, 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 because you're still in the info window is what's live. There we go. So see that little thing? It's like a 1 second video. It's just a 1 second video. And just it. And sometimes it's useless like that, but it's taking up memory of a 1 second video, which could be 24 photos, right? Because that's what it takes to get 1 second worth of video. I'm not sure how many photos the live takes, but it could be that it's 24 videos, 24 photos. Can you right click on that little thing that says live?
So are you saying that I didn't take a snapshot? I took
Yeah.
a video and didn't know it?
Yeah, so actually that didn't help, so move away. I just didn't know if that part was if that was live, so I just needed to test that. Yeah, I'm looking for some live photos of my own, and I'll be able to demo it, but I'm trying to remember where yeah, you can. Yeah, so right click word live, go back to live or anywhere, just on this photo. Just hover over this photo. It doesn't need to be over that. And see how there's a chance down there to say turn off live photo? Yeah, right there. That little live icon goes away. Now, because it was already taken as a live photo in your phone, and that's something I'm going to show you how you do that in your phone, it is still a live photo. So go back to the same photo, but then you'd have to know it yourself that it was a live photo because there's no other ways to know. Go back, put your right click, and you can once again turn on live photo. And that's why see, now you can turn on live photo. So you guys, if you don't know how to find your live photos, let me show you. Head over, can you move your whole window over a little bit to the right so we can see your on the left sidebar right now? You're not, yeah, there you go. Okay, so guys, see on the left side on that gray sidebar, does everyone see the gray sidebar? Some people don't see it. If you don't see the gray sidebar, let me know. But if you do see the gray sidebar, then can you head on your gray sidebar now? Okay, you're putting a name on that. No.
I just looked at my calendar to find out what trail I was on.
Oh, well, that's
July 27th.
There you go. Isn't that pretty cool, you guys? He was able to do that because of the date. Okay, so click on this area, the what you're scrolling, and see where it says media types. Go to the left of the media types, that little arrow, to show it collapsed, because some people don't know that these little arrows on the left side collapse or expand your media type. So if you just see the word media types and nothing else, you say, I don't have anything under media types, it could be that it's collapsed. So go to the little arrow to the left of the media types and expand it. And it'll show you all kinds of medias. And you see that if you click on videos, you can see any videos, selfies, and then hit live photos. And it'll show you anything that you have with live photos. And it looks like you have about 38 live photos here. So you don't have, in this case, that many of them.
Total accident. Total accident.
Well, and from
May
to October, but actually go put your mouse over the area that says live photos now, and now scroll up and down. No, over to the right. Yeah, and now scroll up and down, and you probably, yeah, it looks like that's all you have. Now, for some of you guys, almost every one of your photos might be live photos, okay? Depending on if the feature was turned on or not in your computer. All right, so that's a good way to find live photos. So now, did everyone find a live photo or two? Yeah. Now I'm going to thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to stop your sharing. I want to, I'm going to share my screen again, and I am getting an alarm saying that it's break time, but I think it's set up a bit too early. What's the time for this class again? Or is it right? Did it go so fast? Let me see. I tried to give no, it is about midway. Okay, otherwise I zoom through my alarm, my breaks. And so I tend to, when I see it's appropriate somewhere in the middle, I give a break. But let me finish this. If you hit live photos, whatever you have, I have 747 photos here are live photos. So whoever's phone was set up to live photos left it on for a long time. And so for some things it makes sense, for some things it doesn't. This is like steps of how to make this little ball in origami that my son was putting together. And so he has a ton of photos and every one is a live photo. Does it make sense? I'm going to double click to have this be a live photo. I mean, look at it. This is all it does, which is ridiculous, right? Now, sometimes there is a reason to the live photos, and let's see, this is a live photo. And this is, there we go. That's a live photo. I thought I would just take a photo. And instead, all of that got recorded, right? So this is what I was trying to take, but notice that where it ends, his eyes aren't the best. This would have been the photo. But if I look at the live at the beginning, his photos, like his eyes weren't closed, but at the end it's kind of bad. But this stays as a photo. If I turn it off, this becomes the photo, right? If I leave it on, this becomes the photo. So it's possible to then edit this and choose a better portion of it to be the actual photo. I can edit. I thought I could edit the live photos. It sends me outside. No, I'll have to learn that. I thought you could edit it as a live. Yeah, here. I'll show you later how to do that, but I can choose a different moment, like that moment of it, or that moment of it, or this moment of it, to say that's the one I want, okay? And then I'll say done, and then that, anyway, so I'll show you later how to do that because you need to actually screenshot it. But that's the only advantage to the live photo that I see, that you can take a photograph, you can be photographing a little kid that's moving fast or a dog that's moving fast, right? And so maybe you capture a little bit more before they close their eyes or after they close their eyes or that kind of thing. Other than that, live photos are kind of a drag and they just take up a lot of space. So I'm gonna share with you how to turn it off, and you can choose to leave it on or off, but I'm gonna show you how to turn it off or on, and then we'll take our break because I want to finish the live photos conversation. So I'm going to switch to my phone.
I mean, when I'm doing a group photo of like a lot of family members and you're stuck with whatever, I mean, it would seem to me to be good practice to do them all with live photos and then edit down the kindest for the most.
I prefer a burst than a live photo.
Why?
Because then you get many photos of that moment, like,
yeah,
depending on how long you hold your finger down. And each photo then, if you're good at Photoshop like I am, I can take photos from one face from another and then make a great photo. Versus the live photo, which it's this weird little,
it's too fluid. It's too fluid.
Yeah, I don't really, the live photo feature, but I got a cute little moment, and there's other cute little moments of kids going, that you have. It's a mini video that occupies very little space. So if you want that, that's good. So head over to your phone and head over to your settings.
Oh, boy.
And then head down. I think photos, sorry, it's inside of the iCloud, right? No, sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. How to access my photos? Drawing a blank. Here. Okay, so in the main settings, for the main thing settings, before you go into your iCloud, scroll down until like 10 or 20 down, you get into these apps. And let me put my mouse
Diana,
right on.
Diana,
And here you go. Here's the photos. What?
in the photo app itself on the phone, if you go to, when you put it into the photo mode,
Yeah.
up in the right-hand corner, there's a place to turn it off.
Yeah, but it doesn't stick.
Ah, thank you.
It doesn't stick. So
Thank
if
you.
you really want to turn it off temporarily, you can do that. But then when you close the photo phone camera and you turn on the camera again, it stays and it goes back on. I'll show you that in a second. But the place where you turn it on, if forever, is from here. You go to photos and down here. Oh God. Here I have autoplay videos and live photos, but that is not where you turn it on or off. Did they change it? This used to say turn off live photos. Do they not let you turn it off anymore? Or maybe people didn't know about this and so they did put it in the camera feature. Okay, here's the problem. In order to turn it off effectively, you had to come here before. I'm thinking that since people didn't know that and hated it, maybe it is accessible on the camera as a constant feature now. Here now what they're saying is to let you auto play it or not, which means that the moment you hit a live photo, it self plays itself. That's that choice. Maybe they've fixed that. So I'm going to back off and go to my Photos app, because in the Photos app, you can turn it off and on and off. Like, so you go to your camera and you turn on your camera, and it's true, as Bill said, that you can turn this on and off right there. That little feature there turns it on or off. And if I click on it once, it says live on or live off. But in the past, your choices were overridden. The moment you turned it off, if you turn it on again, it was always live. See, now it's live. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to close my app. And when I turn on my camera again, it's off. So, yay, looks like now it's sticking. I wonder if hopefully if I turn my whole camera, my phone on and off completely, it'll still stick. Okay, so then
Can
that's
you do
good.
that again? I didn't quite understand how you got
Yeah.
to turn it on.
Okay,
and off.
so you turn on your camera as if you're about to take a picture. Here's one of my bazillions of cameras and cables that I was talking about. You turn this on, and then right up here, do you see my mouse?
Yes.
Up right, that is off. Touch it, that is on. See how it says live?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Touch it and it's off.
Yeah.
Touch it and it's on. Now, for years, you would turn it off, and then when you turn the camera on again, it would default back to on, unless in the settings you said turn live off. But now in the settings, it's not there. So I think they fixed that. And I think that the fact that it's fixed means that now hopefully it will stick. It'll make those choices. But if you have this on, all it is yellow. And when you take a picture, and I'm going to take a picture right now, then when I go see that photo, that is a live photo, and it does this little kind of movement thing. And it's really, really only good when you want it, not all the time. It takes up a ton more of your space. Okay.
Diana,
Yes.
so in mine, I have an auto, I'm sorry. In mine, I have auto on and off. When I touch the auto, then I would get that live that already has an X, So would that just be easier just to go to
Auto,
the
I don't, I wish you could show it to me. Does anyone know what you're talking, what's your auto? Do you have, what phone do you have?
Apple 10?
This is a 10 or an
iPhone 10.
11. This is a 10 or 11. This is a school phone. I think it's a 10.
So on your
Let me
daily
see.
life-
Let me see what this is. It's an iPhone 10. So it should be similar to yours, but I don't see an auto. Does anyone know what auto she's talking about? Someone can show me.
So on the very top left, you have
Left.
that like zigzag or something,
That's my flash. Yeah.
Oh, the flash. And so near that is the
Yeah.
line that has an X, which means it's off. But if I touch it, then it goes live. Then if I touch the zigzag or the flash, an auto
That's-
comes on
Yeah,
and
so for
off.
the flag, for the flash, there's an auto or on. That's different. Because the
Oh, I
flash,
see.
you could, but it's just for the flash where you can tell it that you want more control or you want it to never be on or to be off. But the live is only on and off. It's different.
So
So-
on the live, if I touch it, then it just will have the X. That means it's live off, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's on
Okay.
or off. So the flash, if I turn the flash on, then notice that down here, a choice comes up that I can turn on and I can choose to have flash auto on or off. The live, I can have, oh, here you go. Here's where you turn it on or off as well. So on or off, but the choices are only on or off. It doesn't matter. But this before you had to change from the settings. So that's cool that they put it in here. So
Alright.
most of this doesn't appear for people unless you turn this little tiny arrow up and down. And if you turn it off, then you just choose between video, photo, portrait. But if you're in photo and you turn this on by just touching it, that's all you need to do. You turn that on and then you have more choices down here. But you know what? I'm torn because I have so much I can teach you about the camera app, but this isn't a photo class for the camera, which I have proposed and I still have not gotten an okay on. And I wish I did because I can spend hours teaching you how to use your iPhone for photos. But right now, I just wanted to make a point about the live photos. And I can keep answering here and there over the next 10 classes. You can keep asking me things about the features for the camera itself. And when it's appropriate to what I'm teaching, I'll show it to you like right now, because you want to know what they are. But since we're here, before we take a break, this is how you switch, which I'm sure you all know, by clicking, I'm putting my finger down and sliding to the left or to the right to go from photo to portrait to pano. Some of you have one choice or the other, depending, like you might not have portrait if you have an older phone. If you have a newer phone, you have portrait, video, slow-mo, time lapse. And most people use it in photo, but if you use it in video, some of you didn't even know that you could take videos. And you can choose how many frames per minute and stuff like that in this one. And that's why a 1 second video could be 24 or 30 frames. It's a ton of photos. All right. I'm going to stop this here. I'm going to give us a break because it's a good point. And is there any other burning questions about live photos for now?
Yeah, I didn't even know I had time lapse. I never went that far left. What? So if I push that,
Oh, my kids have a lot of fun with it. Take your phone and photograph something, water pouring out of a faucet, or, you know, no, the other way, I'm sorry, that's slow-mo. That's slow motion. Time lapse would be take your camera and leave it on a little tripod set up and, you know, watch a flower open up. And when you're done, you'll have a little quick little of the flower opening up.
oh,
So, yeah,
okay,
it's pretty
thank
fun. I don't know
you.
if I have any time. Oh, I have some sample time lapses here. Here we go. Here's the time lapse that my sons took. And it's one of those little capsules that you put in the water. Oh, but I guess they were learning how to do it and it didn't work. There's others, but I must not have loaded it, unfortunately. This is one of those little things that you put in water and the plastic dissolves in a little spongy dinosaur pops up or something like that. And I do know that it was successful, but I guess I don't have the successful version where you just put it on time lapse and next thing you know, the whole thing. And then here's a slow-mo.
Are you sharing?
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen.
I don't see any screen
You're
share.
right. I stopped sharing. Let me.
You were on your son showing.
Yeah. So this is a slow-mo. And this is a slow-mo version of something being, I don't know if he has any successful ones here. Let's see, this is a 6 second. I don't,
Oh, yeah.
I guess it's not the best example. They've done lots of, I should add some, but see how he's moving really slowly. This is not a successful example. Yeah, it's not a successful example. But if you have any, you would know, because if you have them, they show up here. So challenge during this week, take a slow-mo. If your camera can do it, take a slow-mo of something happening fast and take a time lapse of something happening slow, and then tell us your experience about it. And your phone has to be able to do it. The moment you do it, it'll appear here. If not, you don't have it. I'll see if I can get some good samples that they've done, or if I can do some more. Same with panoramas, bursts. All of these will appear only if you have taken some. If not, they don't show up. Okay. So if you don't have live photos here, it's because you never had your live photos turned on. If you've never taken a selfie, you won't have selfies, et cetera, et cetera. All right.
Thank you,
Diane.
Anna.
I have a question. real
Someone's
quick,
trying to
Diane.
ask me something. Yeah.
Yeah, real
Email,
quick.
I'll
I have
calculate for them, yeah.
quite a few live photos. What's the benefit of turning them off? Do you save space, or what is it?
No, I don't think you save, I personally don't think you save space. I said I'm gonna research that, but I don't think you save space. For some people, it might bug them because when you pass your mouse over them, they activate. And so it's true that if you have a very old or slow computer, every time you pass your mouse over it, it activates it, and that might use memory, as in your computer slows down even more. If you suddenly have 20 of them, every time your mouse goes down, they all have to activate. And suddenly you're having 20.
So there's no way to
little
convert
videos
them.
activating themselves.
There's no way to convert them into JPEGs or something.
Oh yeah, like I said, by turning the light. No, again, if you have a live photo, this is still, if I look over here, it says
Yeah.
HEIC. If you look at the type of photo, it says HEIC over here. If you go to any other old photo, let me see a newer one. I don't have any of the newer photos because a lot of the newer photos show up as HEIC too, but I don't have any.
Yeah, because what I find is I can't
So this
sometimes
says JPEG.
attach an HEIC photo to like
Yeah.
an email or something.
Yeah,
So
so an HEIC photo, you can export as an HEIC. So remind me, I need to show you how to do that. I'll show you how to export and turn it into a JPEG. You can always do that, but I
Okay.
want to do that later. It's a bit more advanced. Keep that question, email it to me and keep that question. I won't show that today because that's kind of later in the class, but I do want to show you that, okay? So let's do a break until 15 minutes from now, which is, what is that? 52. I think I have that right. Till 2:52. And I always count on you guys to tell me if I'm right or wrong. Is that 15 minutes? Ish. My forte is not math.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly 15 minutes.
All right.
Well, now it's 14.
All right, so break it. We'll be on break until 2:53. All right. See you guys in a little bit.
Grazie.
Bye. All right, guys, I'm back. I've been teaching since this morning and I didn't get a break this morning, so I needed a few seconds to just walk. My body gets like, It used to be that I walked in my classes and now I'm just sitting still. In fact, I used to stand. I don't know why today I'm not standing. Let me just stand at least. Oh, that's better. I have a tall desk with a tall chair and now I'm standing. All right. When your hand is up, I don't know if it's up because it was up from before or if there's a particular question. Oh, can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I discovered a very useful feature that I didn't know before on the info feature on the photos. I get a lot of photos by text from my two small grandchildren in Colorado, which I add to the library. And although the info doesn't show camera information or anything, I can now add in a description or a location based on what they told me in the text messages.
Yeah,
So
that's
very
true.
useful.
That is awesome. I always show these features. Some people go, oh, what in the world are you showing me this for? And other people like light up, like, wow, this is useful for this, is useful for that. And when that happens to you, like it happened to Win, please share because it gives other people ideas that they wouldn't have thought of, right? So that's a great example. And I'm sure a lot of other people, I saw people kind of reaching out. Maybe they're taking notes and they're going, oh, let me try that one. So thanks for saying that. I can only give as many ideas as I can think of. And then when you guys give new ideas, I just see light bulbs going off in there. It's like, oh, okay, that one might be useful for me. So thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah, because when you receive a photo through a text or through an email, or if you downloaded it from the internet, it's not coming from your camera, basically, then you don't have any control over what information was registered on the device that took it. And maybe the sending of it also stripped it of information. And I'm not sure when and where that happens, but sometimes all that metadata goes away to protect privacy. Other times the camera person who took the picture already had none of that information on. So for whatever reason, when you download it, sometimes it comes with a lot of information from the internet or not. It already says things about it and sometimes it doesn't. So then you can add that information, which is what Win is saying, which then will help it be findable. Now, there's other ways to register material. There's other ways to put in here. You can make albums. You can make different ways of organizing your things where every time you get a text, you throw it in there in an album. But actually putting information on the photo itself is really cool. And something I hadn't shown you yet, which I'm going to share my screen now and share it with you, is the fact that imagine that all these photos were just texted to you, or in this case, all these photos have one theme, which is I'm going to start from here and hold down my shift key and click on the last one. And all these photos that I just selected, okay, and how did I select many? I went, I'm going to do that again. Click on the top one of whatever set, choose 4 photos that are the same thing of one way or another. And then I'm going to scroll to the last one. I hold my shift key and I click. So now all of the photos of how to make this origami have been selected together. And now it says 132 photos. It doesn't give me details, but it can add a description for all of them. And I can say origami, right? Or origami steps or something like that, right? And in fact, I'm noticing now that these are all origami. And I'm going to take only the word origami there. And then I'm going to walk out. By walk out, meaning I'm going to click away. So I've taken this section off and I'm noticing that it's 2 different sets. This is a crane. So I'm going to go back up here and reselect only the steps for the crane. And here I'm going to add origami crane to this one. And then I'm going to reselect. This is the beginning of, and I'm shift click, and this is origami ball, I believe, or star or something like that. I think it's a star. And I leave. So now I have half of these. If I click on any one of these, it says origami crane, and all of them say origami crane. And then all of these say origami star. And maybe, I guess one thing I forgot, I can reselect origami star steps. Those are all words that might later help me find it. And I'm going to go ahead and see, I'm adding or changing things. I'm going to go to the crane, select, shift, select, and I'm going to say origami crane steps. All right. So in the future, and I'm going to show you, we're going to test it now. Amongst all the bazillions of photos we have, these will be findable by any of those words, by origami or by star or by crane or by steps. Okay. Now you got to be careful that the photos be, that the words be really descriptive and not so generic that, like, you say tree. So the next time you say tree, suddenly bazillions of photos appear because you've written the word tree on bazillions of them. Or if you use the word boys, because I have 2 boys and I might read boys all the time in the description, and then suddenly I want specific ones of the boys, and suddenly I get 2,000 photos. That doesn't help, right? So try to have words in there that might help. Now, this is different than keywords. We're going to talk about keywords later. We're going to talk about other options. This is just descriptions that are helpful to you, and try not to be too wordy. On the other hand, as wordy as you need, if this is something that a particular person did, you might want to add their name and stuff like that. So later you find it as, you know, the paintings done by this person, or ceramics done by this other person, or whatever it is that you want to add can all go there. I'm going to talk at length later about keywords, which might seem similar to this to some of you guys, but it's a bit more formal than a description. And both of them have a place. Both of them are useful. So we'll talk about a bit like keywords later.
Deanna,
Yeah.
so if you have the description boys in there,
Yeah.
where do you type in boys to get all those photos?
Okay, so that's first I need you guys to set up some descriptions, and then I'm going to have you guys be able to search for them, right? So now at least 4 photos, put some description in, then go and choose some other photos. So find them anywhere. I don't care where you find them in photos, find them in places. So here I have a whole bunch that already say Sequoia as the place they were taken in, right? And I found them just by going by time. Let me see. What is this? This says Colita. Do I recognize this place? Colita, Isla Vista. I was not part of that outing. It's probably, oh, UCSB, right? Yeah, I think this is the USEN. So that's my father with the boys. So I'm seeing there's 4 photos there. So I'm going to go to this time, and yeah, so what day is this? March 27, 2018. So I'm going to go to the day. Oh, I skipped. Should go to months. I skipped it. I was in 2018, or I was in days. Where was I? I was in 2018. It was March. I jumped here, March 28. Oh, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and find in March 2018. 2019, November, March, April. Here we go. I went into March, February, March. Trying to find what photos were they. Here. Is this the photos that I since they're not photos that I recognize because I wasn't there, I'm not very sure. Here's another. I told you how many photos of my son doing weird sleeping stuff, but that's not so weird. That's just uncomfortable. Okay, well, I don't know where. Well, I think it was March 2018. Here it is. Oh, okay. It was part of this. This is like a Pokemon championship that they participated in. Okay, I remember now what this is all about. So say grab 2 or 3 photos of this championship, So you can hold and select a few different ones. And I guess this was all part of that championship. And then you can add a description. I'm going to write Pokemon competition championship or whatever it is, right? So go ahead and choose some things that you recognize, select a few of them, and yeah, and give them some names. So yeah, here I was looking at some windows that I wanted to imitate and stuff. I think this is also Pokemon. Yeah, this is also a Pokemon photo. So I'm gonna add a description of Pokemon on that one. Probably it was a 2-day thing. Oh, I know what was happening. I know why there's photos of Pokemon and IKEA. Some of these are IKEA. It's because when they went to the championship of Pokemon, I went to IKEA in LA. That's what happened. Now I'm figuring it out. So I can see that I have photos of mine and my husband's and my kids mixed up, and there's photos of Pokemon and some things that I wanted to buy at IKEA on the same days. That's because I was in whatever the IKEA of Orange County and they were in the contest. So I wrote that in there. Okay. Now, if I go back to photos, years, month, all photos, I have no idea where those photos are anymore in my thousands of photos, right? Now I've mixed them up. So I've made 2 or 3 different things. Hopefully you have 2 in yours. And if you're not figuring out how to do this, let me know. All you need to do is select one and write something in a description. And if you have more than one of the same thing, click on one, hold down the shift key and click on the last one. And then that selects a set, right? And I believe he's making a little cardboard house at some Earth Day event or something like that. I think it's an Earth Day house craft or something like that. So I'm just writing a few things in there. Okay, so hopefully you did that with enough things. I want 4 or 5 samples there in your own libraries. Nothing of this is going to ruin any other settings that you have. This is just adding descriptions to a few of them. All right, now imagine that this is eons later. You have no idea where anything is. Things have, happen. Stuff is completely, you don't have even the infos turned on or anything. And you're like, oh God, I want to find those photos. Remember when the kids, how cute. Remember when, oh my God, here's another sleeping. He was so tired and he puts, anyway, he just sleeps anywhere. Great. Search, not the big old Mac search, the inside the app photo search, right there, search. Let's write one of the words that you wrote to describe your pictures. Your words are going to be different than mine because you probably don't have any kids in a Pokemon championship, but I did. So I'm going to write the word Pokemon and boom. There they show up. Did the photos that you had selected for whatever description you selected show up? Yeah. I'm going to get rid of it. It shows me 11 photos and it even tells me that they were under the description. So I'm going to turn that off. And what was the first thing that I had said? Origami. Origami. So look, look at my example here. And I don't know if you're seeing the whole thing, but it says origami, origami star steps, and origami crane steps. And it kind of goes outside of the window. Are you seeing that it says origami 132? Do you see the little 132 there, or is that little bit not showing? Because it seems to be showing only this part, but right at the end here, where it seems to go out of the picture, it says 132. 132 pictures say origami. 90 of them say origami star steps, and 42 say origami crane steps. But all 132 say the word origami. You see that? So it's kind of like a ton say origami, only a few say origami star, and a few say origami crane. So if I want to find my origami cranes, I click in there, and there's my origami crane photos. Does that make sense? So if you have more things labeled one thing, and I don't know if you guys did that, but like if you have 50 photos entitled wedding, and 40 of them say also wedding Mark, and the others say wedding Joanna, because you have 2 kids and one is Mark's wedding, one is Joanna's wedding. Then when you click wedding, you'll get Mark and Joanna's photos, and then you go Joanna's, and then you see all the photos of Joanna's wedding, or wedding Mark, and you see all the photos of Mark's. Does that make sense, you guys? How you describe it and where you describe things are really useful for the future when you have no memory of where all these photos went. Or maybe someone took pictures with a different camera and gave them to you later, or there's other photos related to the wedding that happened before and after prep, maybe of buying the dress and stuff, and you just kind of still want to pack them in as wedding, and some happened a year earlier, 6 months earlier, 3 months earlier, but as long as they're all labeled wedding, when you write the word wedding, they all appear. And it's the story of the wedding from beginning to end, as long as they all had the word wedding. Now, some of them might also have the word dress, and some might have the word rehearsal, some might have the word bridesmaids, but they all have the word wedding. So when you type wedding, they all appear at the same time. And then you write wedding bridesmaids, and then you get only photos where it's wedding and bridesmaids, or wedding and tux, or does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the general, maybe I write Christmas on all of them. So then I have Christmases once a year for as long as I have digital photos. And so when I say Christmas, I'm going to get photos of Christmas from every year. And then I can write more specifics, like Christmas that we spent at my grandmother's or grandfather's, or when my mom was here, or stuff like that. Or I can just have dates, Christmas 2017, and then only those show up, or stuff like that. So that is really powerful to find things without having to make official and organized albums, which we're going to do as well. We're going to do official albums where you put in all photos of a wedding, where you can just click in here and say, this is kind of funny because I did this once. I had to do a costume for my son where he looked like he was coming out of a sewer. He was a sewer inhabitant for a musical at Santa Barbara High School, where he was part of the sewer. So I seem to have made a whole album called Sewer Hair. And here they are, right? They show up, and I was trying to make his hair look like it was coming out. It didn't take much with my kid's hair to make it look kind of bad, or not bad, but their hair is beautiful, but messy. And I was testing something out. So there's an actual album. There might be some albums there that you did or didn't even know that you did, or that you have that you didn't even know that you had, like an Instagram album, a WhatsApp, a Snapseed, and I'll tell you what those things are later. You might have them without knowing that you have them. You might have nothing here.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, so right now we're going to create this. You might have 0, you might have a lot. We'll find out about it. For now, collapse it. Right now, I'm just showing you how to find things beyond albums, how to just find things because you put some stuff in their description. Because you don't want to make albums for everything in your life. Maybe you want specific albums, but descriptions is a good one. Now I'm going to turn on this info again. And other ways to find things have to do with keywords, people, and places. And some of those are automatic. Some of those you have to create yourself. So we'll learn more about each one of these as we go along. Right now, I wanted to say that another place where you can add words are in the title. You can also put something in the title. So let me find a photo. I'm looking at this. It looks like that's a burrito with some fish fingers and sweet potato. It looks like someone was trying to draw something out of that. Knowing my kids, that was probably making a little chicken. They're all vegetarian right now, so this wouldn't work. But anyway, I don't know what they're trying to do in there, but I might call this one in the description something, or I might call food art or something like that. So I'm going to call this one food art. I don't know. I'm going by, I grabbed whatever photo first came up. I'm going to grab food art. Okay. And, or, so let's just do that. And now let's go and kind of spin the wheel, lose it. And then in the search, I'm going to write the word food. And over here, under the word food, all of this shows up, including this is one of them. Okay. It looks like I have 82 photos that the word food might be appropriate. Now, if I want to see them all, I'll click on that and it'll be a combination of photos that I labeled food or photos that and this is the part that's missing that I haven't explained to you yet, that the artificial intelligence of the Apple iPhone thinks is food. So for example, does this look like food to anyone? Doesn't look like food to me. And when I look at the info, nothing here says food. Now, how am I doing this? I'm selecting something and hitting my space bar to make it go big, and then my space bar to make it go small. So instead of having to double click to make it go big and hit the arrow to make it go small, I'm going faster. I am selecting and I'm hitting the space bar up, space bar down. Did this look like food to you? Yeah. How about this one? Does this look like food? Looks like mama got busy making some pies for Father's Day or birthday or something. Let's look at the date. Looks like that's Father's Day, 2017. All right. So this is the computer figuring out that there's food in the picture. Oh, look at that. It figured out that this is a waffle. I did not label. Look at the descriptions. There's nothing here that says food or waffle or anything, but the computer found photos of food. Looks like that's maybe a tomato haul in my backyard. It doesn't say tomatoes. It doesn't say anything. That is the search for food. So when you do a search, it respects what you wrote, and it also uses artificial intelligence. Now, for some reason, this, which is just a cute little catch that then got thrown back in, has also been labeled food, but why not? I guess some people do eat them. Okay, so go and see if the computer found a ton of food. It looks like somehow we take lots of pictures of food in our house. There, a birthday cake. I don't know what this is. Ew, oh, I remember. It's a Chinese food that someone brought to us once. It's another birthday cake. Anyway, so as you can see, I find that they have lots of pictures of food in their albums, or is it just my family that has lots of pictures of food? Did food come up for you guys?
Just your family.
Just my family? Okay, so as you can see, here's s'mores camping. So it looks like our family does have a lot of fun with the photos. Put something else in there, put animals. Things that you haven't written. So it looks like it came up with 44 pictures of animals. And once again, it made a mistake here. I don't see an animal, but maybe that looked like an animal to the computer. But this is certainly an animal. And these are animals. My little chickies. Those are not animals. Those are my people. Oh yeah, there's an animal there. There's a dog. So there's
I
my
got
chickens.
my son's famous Day of the Dead cake with video. How
All
to make it.
right. Day of the Dead cake, snakes, coral, Anyway, as you can see, it's hit and miss. I don't think there's any animal in here. Oh yeah, my dog is in there. Oh, how funny. I don't see any animal there. That's my son. I guess they consider it animals. Ooh, looks like a spider. Someone photographed a spider. I told you these photos are a mixture of photos from all over the place. Okay, so what do you guys, did you find animals in your photos? Do you take a picture of animals?
Yeah.
Challenge me. Put something in there that works for you that you know you have photos of. Maybe you do a lot of flowers. So each time you have to click on the X to clear that search and then put another, and there we go. I guess I don't have as many pictures of flowers as I have of animals and of food, but I guess I do have some flowers. These cutie pies. And by the way, there was a question that Yolanda had about HDR pictures, and since she asked this picture today, and I have a perfect example here of that, I'm gonna talk about HDR. I don't know if you guys noticed, but in the Yolanda asked about HDR pictures earlier. She said, Diana, when there are two similar shots, is it better to retain the HDR and what is the HDR? Okay, she had asked that a bit earlier on, and since I wasn't explaining HDR yet, I hadn't answered it. So I'm answering another chat. Here we go. Notice that there's the same photo and it's looks identical. And it's this one is labeled HDR and this one is not labeled HDR. And some of you have that and some of you don't. How many of you guys see HDR labeled photos? Oh, you know what? I forgot to do something that you guys might need. 1 second. Some of you might not see HDR even if you have them. I need you to turn something on first. What time is it? We still have a little bit of time. So before we can do what I'm going to do now, as much as I asked you to turn on the info, notice that nothing here in the info says anything about HDR versus non-HDR. These two are from the exact same moment. Well, 1 second seems to have gone by. But one says HDR and one doesn't. So head up to the very, very top where you see the apples icon on your computer. And I'm not sharing, I'm going to share my whole screen so you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a big screen, so it's harder to see, but when you click on your photos up there, it should say photos. If you're on the Finder, it'll say Finder, that won't work. If you're on Zoom, it'll say Zoom, that won't work. You need to be clicking on any of this part here so that it says photos.
Yeah.
Then head over to the word view. View.
Yeah.
And from view, go down to metadata. And what you need to have here is you need to turn on the things that right now are off, meaning what's checkmarked is on, what's not checkmarked needs to be turned on. So I'm going to click on here and say view metadata titles. I'm going to click on titles. And then there you go. Suddenly I'm seeing the titles under my photos. I'm going to go to view metadata. It's repetitive keywords. And I'm going to turn on the keywords. And I'm going to say view metadata edited. And I'm going to turn on the edited. I'm going to say view metadata reference file, view metadata location. So I just turned all the choices on. This is what I want. I want every single one of these things. Now, if I go back to it, I'm turning it off, right? So if you say view metadata and you select something that was already checked, that turned it off. Oh, sorry. See? So if it's off, select it one more time for it to turn on. By the time you're done, you want to be able to see view metadata and see check marks on all those choices. If you've done this class before, hopefully you still have these on. But if you haven't done this class before, or if for any reason you've chosen to turn them off, please turn them on again, because this is another way to view metadata other than little info. And metadata is information that comes with the file that has nothing to do with the image we're seeing. Like, for example, our description. People are going to not see that. People are going to see the kids sleeping or the flower in the garden. The metadata we are seeing because we're kind of seeing the background, and it's telling us how big the file is, when it was taken, including titles, description, and so on and so forth. So now I'm seeing the titles, and I'm seeing this one here has these little icons here that mean that it's been edited. This one here has a little pin thumbtack on it, which means it has a location. Okay, so anyway, in case you guys have anything in particular happening on your photos, and if not, you will have, once we're moving through this class, you will have made a lot of these things. But if you have a lot of these little pin thumbtack kind of, or tack, what were these things called? Tacks, thumbtacks or something. That the idea is that, so that those are location tags. It's like you put a little pin on a map. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
that's
either
what
a
that
push
means.
pin or a thumbtack. Take your pick.
Push pin or thumbtack. I'm
I
kind of
think you're
saying
looking for push pin.
push pin. Thank you. I was looking for thumbtack or thumbtack. I was doing the opposite. push pin. Thank you. So that icon means that there's a location tag on it. Okay. So now I wanted to go back to explaining HDR, which is, this is the same exact photo moment, but see how this number is 7548 and this is 7549? It's not the same photo. It's the same moment, but not the same photo, right? So what happened is that I clicked one photograph here. I just said, click. I actually said click 2 or 3 times because I went from 740 to 749, it seems. But anyway, I must have taken many photos of these pictures, but just so you know, this is the same moment, right? So let's look at this one. I'm going to hit the space bar to see it bigger. This is not the HDR version, and this is the HDR version. So I'm going to click on this one and hit spacebar. And in this photo, the phone is doing its best to take this picture, but there's a lot of very uneven lighting. There's dark shadows down here. There's bright, bright sun on the leaves and on that patch of sun right there. See how it blows out? You stop seeing the details of that photo there, and it blows out. You don't see the details, and it calls your attention. I'm going to move this out of the picture for a minute. Let me actually shift to showing just this. Okay, so here you have a pretty well exposed flower. The balance, you know, the phone's trying to balance and to give you good exposure, and then it's blown out here, and it's blown out over here. It's kind of dark in there. Okay, so now at the same moment, my camera also took an HDR picture if you have it enabled. And in an HDR picture, see how you see the fence didn't blow out so much, and I guess I didn't frame it exactly the same because that one there. Let me get to another HDR picture here. Here's an HDR picture as the same framing. See how now you see the fence and see how you see the leaf, whereas before you didn't see it, but the flowers look the same. So between this moment, which is HDR, over there it says HDR, and I'm going to move my arrow now. I'm using my arrow keys instead of up and down, and I'm going to go to the right arrow key. This is the non-HDR. Look what's happening here and here, and look what's happening here in the HDR. Which one do you like better?
HDR.
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 In this situation, HDR performs marvelously because HDR in situations of uneven lighting, and this is important, it's not for every photo, because Yolanda's question was, is the HDR always better? No, it's not always better. In situations of uneven lighting, your camera takes one picture and it does its best, and that's this one. Okay, and I know the alarm is telling me the class is over. So if you need to leave, please leave. If you need to know how to get to your handouts and recordings, hang out a little bit longer. Let me finish explaining HDR. And if you need to leave, this will be in the recording. Okay, so I'm just not going to go much fast. So I'll just explain this, but I want you guys who can stay to hear it. And if you need to go. So in this situation, the camera did as best it could. And this is a very hard situation for a camera to expose correctly for this and for that. It just can't happen in one photo. It just can't. So in the old times, us professional photographers would bracket the exposure on our cameras and would expose for the lights, expose for the darks, expose for the middles, and then kind of work in the dark room or work in Photoshop to put 3 photos together to get it to look like one well-exposed photo. Well, guess what? The iPhone does that for us. When you take a picture in the HDR mode of the camera, it takes 3 photos, bracketed, puts them together, and gives you one photo and calls it HDR. High density resolution or something like that, I think is what it's called. I don't really remember what the HDR stands for. I think it's something like that. So this is your camera doing 3 exposures, putting them together and giving you what it considers the best solution. Sometimes it's marvelous. Sometimes it's a bad guess, right? Just like Sometimes it figured out the animal and sometimes it didn't. I guess humans are animals, but my son I wouldn't classify as an animal. So sometimes it does it well, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, definitely the HDR. Look at the leaves, it's perfect. Look at the fence, it's perfect. Much better than the non-HDR. So if that's the situation, you want to keep it. Now, if you took an HDR photo and an very even lighting situation, like this one, for example, the HDR or the non-HDR wouldn't show you much difference at all. And sometimes it might make it more rugged and worse. So it's hard to tell. What you need to do is know that in your phone, you can turn HDR on and off, just like you can turn on live photo on and off. So if you have them always on, then you'll always have two pictures for the same moment, the non-HDR and the HDR. So each moment will give you two pictures. Do you need, if you take 10 photos, to have 20 of that moment? Do you need, if you take 50 photos, to have 100 of that moment? If the lighting is even, you don't need 100 pictures of that moment. Turn HDR off on your phone, and then you end up with only one. But if you're in a place where there's dappled lighting, sunlight and shadows in and out, middle of the day, anytime there's sun, there's lots of, a white fence in the background, you don't even notice a person wearing a white t-shirt. HDR will do a much better job with that, but you'll end up with two photos of the same moment. Okay, so it's up to you.
How do you change it to HDR on your phone?
It's already on. All iPhones have it automatically. The only thing you can do is to turn it off by going into settings and then to camera.
So you go to the camera.
HDR stands for high dynamic range.
High dynamic range. There you go. So in the settings, camera.
Way down.
Okay.
Yep.
Right there. You can have choices like
Down at the bottom.
yeah, but I'm looking to see if for a chance this is where the one I was looking for before was, but no, it wasn't. The live photo, they really did change where it goes. Okay, so here you go. You can choose it. It says Smart HDR intelligently blends the best parts of separate exposures into a single photo. Save the normally exposed photo in addition to the etched version. Yes or no? If you say yes, then right there, then it's going to save both versions. If you say no, it only saves the HDR. Okay, so if you say yes, by doing that, you end up with two photos of each moment. And sometimes they are better, but if it's a situation where it's normal lighting, then you don't need to do HDR. So in the camera, you used to be able to turn off HDR or turn it on. And I'm looking for where that is, or did they not let you turn it on or off anymore?
If you have an SE, you cannot turn it on or off. It's just on. There's no normal.
Wow. Now it's always on.
Yeah, on my iPhone 11, I don't think I can.
It used to be you could, I think they've probably improved the system and it works better, but in the past, sometimes HDR was a disaster. So you didn't want to have it on. But I guess if they've made it better or by default always on, then you can't make those choices anymore. I totally have a mess of cables here.
It looks like my table. I feel a lot better now looking at yours because
Oh my God, look at this.
I thought I was
Look
the
at all
only.
look at all the cables I have in front of
Good
me.
Lord.
Those are all my hard drives. Those are all the connections for all the hard drives. And these are my 3 monitors that I'm connecting. And that's my color emitter, color monitoring. So anyway, I have a lot of computer stuff and a couple of cute little things now and then. I have something cute in front of you. It's mostly mess. I need to tidy this up. I just went through a whole new set of hard drives. And so the cables are a disaster. I lost one set and I never fixed it. Okay. I went to Argentina, took half of the stuff, came back, connected it haphazardly, and have never reconnected them. Okay. So there you go. I guess you can't turn it off and on in the camera anymore. You can only choose to keep or not keep the second photo. So if you only keep it that way, if you turn it off completely, then you don't have HDR happening. And I don't see that as useful because I highly doubt that you'll look at the sun, you'll go to the settings and you'll turn the HDR on and off. It used to be you could turn it on and off in the camera. If you have to come to the settings, you're better off leaving it always on and hope that it always does a good job. But you do have a choice to keep 2 or 1 of the moment. Okay. in this camera and this phone that is not my camera, I guess the default setting is to keep it off. I believe in my real camera, I probably have it set to keep it on because I like to mess with my photos in Photoshop, and I would probably prefer both choices. And so in my real camera, I have both choices, but if you're not going that deep into your editing of photos, you might as well keep only the better version. Okay,
Fiona,
yes,
this is Dot. I have an iPhone 10, and in the camera, right above the picture where you're taking the picture, it says
Mhm.
HDR, and there's choices of auto, on, or off.
see, yeah, we used to have that choice, so I don't know why the HDR.
Yeah, on the iPhone 10, you can have it on auto, on, or
Yeah,
off.
but the phone that I was just demoing for you is an iPhone 10. So I need to see where that choice, where those choices are. As I said, I was just given this phone from school in the summer and I haven't really explored it in depth. Before I had a 7, and in the 7 I could turn it on and off. This iPhone 10, I need to explore what the options are, but I've always thought you could turn that HDR on and off. You're saying you have a 10 and you can turn it on and off, so I
Right,
gotta
think
explore it.
I think I turned on, when I did something in the settings, when we did the camera settings. Oh, what I did is, if you have it on keep normal photo, then
Oh, I see
when-
what you mean.
when
If
you
you
go
do
up-
say keep normal photo, then you can turn it off. That would make sense. Let me,
then when you go into the camera, you can
that's
choose.
why. Yeah, that's why I have that choice, because I do have keep normal photo on mine, and that's why I was seeing it.
Now you have-
So
then
in
you
mine, I
have the
have keep
photo.
normal photo. So now when you go to cameras, you should have the choice to turn on or off the, but where is it showing? This is the live. This is the flash. I don't know. I'll have to look it up because it used to show up right up there, same places. Maybe I need to be having a photo that like this right now that's outside my window, and it's an example of where HDR would be good. No, nothing is
I
popping
don't know,
up.
it's right between the flash and the live on mine.
Yeah. No, 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 and no. I'll have to look into it because I don't see it. I don't know. I don't see it. So I'll have to look it up because this that I'm pointing to would be perfect for an HDR. So I'm going to shoot that picture and I'm going to go see. It took it as an HDR. You see up here on the top left. It took us an HDR, and you remember how little we could see, but yet in the photo you see more than you were seeing on camera. Can you see that there? Put your phone in a place where it's really contrasty. Now, did it do both? Yeah, it did both. Look, it did this one where it's blown out, and then it did this one where it's not much better because this was totally blown out, and now you see a little bit of it. This is a very harsh difference here. But that was non-HDR, and over here it doesn't say anything, and this one is HDR because I told it to save 2 photos. But in the camera, it didn't give me the choice to not save both, so I don't know where that is. But anyway, guys, we're way past our time. It's all useful and it's all good learning. But now you know about HDR, and when HDR shows up, just look at your photos and decide if you think, now is HDR searchable? I highly doubt it because it's not metadata. So no, there's no search that allows us to search for HDR photos, which kind of would be cool, but no. Because it's not a metadata setting, it's just a new photo. So here's HDR, and here's not HDR of the same moment, okay? So obviously I'm looking up or down, but this is in the redwood trees and the sky is blown out. This is HDR and the sky has some blue in it. See the difference?
No sharing.
Oh, sorry, I stopped sharing. I just found another example of, this is not HDR. I'm pointing up at the redwoods and the sky is in the middle, and this is HDR. So you see some sky here, you don't. But if you look at my face, it kind of darkened my face. So it depends on what you're trying to talk. If you're going to crop out the face, I mean, I don't care right now, this face better or not, but it's the same moment. But here I'm burning off some pieces of the trees. I have a white blank thing there. Here I got the sky going and everything is nice. My phase is darker. So it's not good or bad in this case. Sometimes it does mess it up. In this case, both are fine. Here's HDR. Here's not HDR. Here's HDR. Not HDR. Here's HDR. So it doesn't affect only the good stuff. It affects the other stuff. So you need to see which one you like better in both situations before you choose which one to keep or to go. Okay. Again, non-HDR.
Does the HDR take up more or less memory or affect?
Well,
the
it's two
storage?
photos. No, but it's two photos of the same moment.
Well,
So
no, I assume you get rid of one. So let's say you think the HDR is superior. Is there any, is that going to have?
okay, so here's an example when I'm torn. This is the non-HDR
Mhm.
and this is the HDR. The HDR shows much better the logs in the creek here, but the non-HDR shows much better my snow texture. So if I go for the HDR, I lose snow texture. So my choice, because I use Photoshop, is to keep both, bring them into Photoshop and keep both the texture there and the texture in the creek. But if you are just not a Photoshop user, you might go for HDR because overall it's better, even if you lose a bit of that, so it takes up space of two photos. It doesn't become a bigger photo as far as the file is concerned, but let's test that because you have the info now, right? So over here, you see that this is a 3.6 megabyte photo and this one is a 3.4 megabyte photo. So it's a tad different. Let's see with these two, which are HDR and non-HDR. That's a 1.4 megabyte photo. This is the HDR is smaller, 1.3 megabyte photo, and the non-HDR is 1.4. So no, it doesn't make any difference to the file size if it's HDR or not. It's just depending on the circumstances in the photo. Okay, so here's non-HDR. I'm looking at the file size right there, 3.6 megabyte. This is HDR 3.4. It's actually smaller. And in this one, it was bigger. So no, it makes no difference. But you do have 3 times 0.6 plus 3 times 4 saved. You have 2 photos. Is it worth to have 2 photos of the same moment? Well, it depends on the photo. Let's look at this one and that one, this one and that one. So HDR makes everything kind of flat. Non-HDR, I'm torn about which one I prefer. There's a little, we're pointing to a little heart-shaped patch in the snow there that's kind of cute. I don't know. You look at the photo and decide which one you prefer. All right, now I'm truly done.
Good
Look at your
weekend.
look at your HDR photos, and overall, if always your HDR is so much better that you don't want 2 photos, then keep the normal off. But if you think, I think I care enough that I think sometimes I want both, which is only a small subset of you guys, then keep both on and have double the photos, and then you have to deal with them later. And not everyone wants double the photos of everything. So, all right. Oh, yeah, sometimes here's a photo. Oh, I should have shown you this one. I'll show you this one and then I'll be done. Here's a photo. It's all the same moment that I keep finding. Here's a photo where HDR or not HDR makes a huge difference. This is the non-HDR. You have no idea what's happening. The white is so blown out that it's just white. It's like it's a cutout of paper. And this is the HDR where the snow looks like snow, and that's a snow patch of melted snow. So in this case, the HDR saved the photo. This was absolute disaster, and this one is good, right? So sometimes it's huge, and sometimes it's a small difference. All right, I said,
Deanna, I figured out what you were wondering about on the setting.
yeah,
Why you couldn't see your HDR on your phone.
yeah,
If in your settings you have auto HDR,
yeah.
then it doesn't show up on your phone to give you the choice.
Yeah, mine says smart HDR or keep normal photo. It doesn't say auto HDR. I think different versions, different phones have different choices. Let me look at this other phone. I in my iPhone 7, I used to have the choice, but I don't have my 7 with me anymore. My kids have it. Maybe I can go and check on that one. But in my newer phone, I'm not given that choice. In fact, oh my, I have an iPhone 12 right here, And in this one, I don't even have the choice to keep HDR on or out. I only have smart HDR on or off. It doesn't give me the choice. That's crazy. It doesn't even, it gives me less choice on a more advanced photo. So the more advanced you get, it seems to give you less choice to keep it on or off. My guess is that they've improved the lenses and the cameras enough that they trust that the HDR is always so much better that now they don't bother having you have two photos. That's my best guess. I can assume. Okay.
And if anybody has a 4K TV at home and it'll say HDR on the box, you can actually shoot the pictures from your computer onto your TV and it'll be HDR. You'll see the pictures way blown up.
Oh, all right. So there you go. If anyone has an HDR TV. All right, guys.
Thank you,
It's
Deanna.
way past time to sign out. Who needs to know how to get to the recordings? Hang out a little bit longer. I'll show you that. So you don't need to hang out for this. And I know you're all raring to go, but I also want you to get to know how to get to the recordings.
Is
So
this
I'll show-
different from what you told us at the beginning of the?
It's not different, but some people didn't get it or don't remember it. So it's the same. Mhm.
Right.
So basically you go to a browser and I'll tell people to look at the last few minutes or at the recording that I have. You go to a browser, type sbcc.edu. And I'm going to do it kind of quickly because I've done this a few times, just as a reminder. And then you can watch the recording. Pipeline. You sign into Pipeline. And here's where it changed from before. Instead of saying student non-credit, it only says student. So you go to student resources. Click on student resources. And here's Google Drive. Go to Google Drive. I'm not doing it for you to follow. I'm just showing you the steps again. So it's in the recording. You can do this on your own. Go to Google Drive. When you get to Google Drive, you look for shared drives here on the far left, shared drives. Click on shared drives. And then you look for, you probably only have one or two, depending on how many classes you're in. And where's the I? It's alphabetical order. Here it is. iLife shared drive. Double click on it. And usually the first file you're going to find right there, double click, is the Zoom class recording links. And here you have the link for the first two classes. By the end of tonight, usually tomorrow morning, you'll have the link to today's class right here as well. Okay. So that's how you get to it. And to watch it, you click on the link twice. You click here first and then you click again and it'll take you to YouTube and you'll start seeing me. It always starts this way because the camera's off when I start. And then soon enough, I turn it on and I start talking to you. Okay, and that's it. Now, if you are into subscribing and you want to get to all my videos, this is me, so I can't subscribe to me, but when you get here, you'll have a thing that says subscribe. And if you do that, then you can always go to my subscription and you'll be able to see all of my videos for all of my classes, which is hundreds and thousands of them. Anyway, but you can always search for the latest iLife, or there's the other iLife right there, or the intro to the Mac or stuff like that. Anyway, there you go. I'm going to send a link to a recording of just this little process in case you forget it, because, you know, things go in and out of memory. And that link will take you to a video that I recorded a few days ago that is just this little bit. Of course, the video is horrible quality. It's this one. I don't know. It was dark. I don't know. I should redo it. I don't want to redo it, but it's got this really bad quality, but it is the video. Let me actually, because I just uploaded it. So where is it? It's this one. How to access class handouts. See, it's this one. And I just recorded it the other day, and that's what it looks like. But it doesn't matter, because as soon as I share my screen with you, then you see this exact process. Okay, so that shows you that, and then it shows you that, and then it shows you that. Okay, So that's the video. So the fact that my face looks kind of blurry at the beginning is kind of not too important. I might not record it again. I'll let you guys see a blurry face.
Deanna, I can't find the subscribe button. I can only see a share button.
Well, when you click on then maybe you're already subscribed. I don't know.
Do I have to like,
No, because then you would see unsubscribe. Maybe you can't subscribe because it's a school. I don't know if you can subscribe or not. I just know that sometimes I see people subscribed. I've never really, doesn't matter to me because I'm not like,
oh, after you double click an actual video, then there's a subscribe.
oh, to actually view the video. When as soon
Yeah.
as you subscribe, then you can subscribe.
Okay, I am now subscribed, Deanna. Grazie mille.
Oh, you're welcome. Some people die for subscriptions because this is their livelihood. I only have these private links for you guys, so I don't care about subscriptions, but for some people it might be
Oh.
easier to find me if you understand. All right, guys. I'm done. I have squeezed out all my information from my brain for today. And I will see you guys in a week. Have
You're
fun.
the best, Deanna. You're the best. Bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks so